Good to see you. How long you need, man?
If I could get everybody to take a seat, we're ready to go forward. So if I could ask everyone to take a seat, we'll go ahead and get started with our meeting.
Are those seats, those sounds of those seats?
All right, thank y'all for that. Commissioners, if you'll turn on your microphones. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dawson County Board of Commissioners voting session. Today is Thursday, May the 6th, 2021. We appreciate all of you who are in attendance with us here today and those as well that are with us online. We'll start out with a roll call. And you can see we're all here. We have two opening presentations. First off, we have recognition of Rotary Club's Employees of the Year. Our County Manager, David Headley, and Rotary Club President Sharon Hall. Come on up.
Yes. Hey, good afternoon. Good to see everybody. Thank you, Chair. The Rotary Club, I am the president of Rotary Club for 2 more months. I'm not counting down or anything, but 7 meetings. Oh, anyway, didn't mean to say that. Yeah. 4 minutes. One of the things that the Rotary Club of Dawson County has done for years, and we think about 20 years, is to recognize the city and the county employees of the year. COVID tried to stop that last year, but we want to make sure that it did not get ignored. So after having to cancel a couple of meetings because of COVID and because of the weather and stuff, a couple of weeks ago, we were able to honor the county employees. You may have seen it in the paper, but I want us to recognize them tonight so that y'all know, everybody knows who they are. But the first one is Patrick Myers. He is the Dawson County EMT Firefighter of the Year, and I know Patrick is here. He and Chief Thompson came to the meeting. What was so great about this is Chief Thompson did not tell him why he was coming to the meeting. So he did not know he was Employee of the Year until the meeting, so that was absolutely great. But I'd like to ask him to come on up, please. Yeah, just stay up here with us, please. The other one, yeah, you have to stay in the spotlight. The other employee is
They're right there.
Brian Young. As y'all know, Brian, I've seen that today. Brian is the Dawson County Public Works Project Manager. So if Brian wouldn't mind coming up. Yeah. These are, to let you know, these are the awards that they got. So we really wanted them to know how much we appreciate them. Last year, as everybody knows, was an unprecedented year, and it was very appropriate that both of these employees were frontline workers. So not only do we appreciate them, everything they've done, keeping the county safe, but we appreciated all the county employees, and we appreciate the county for letting us. We do continue to do this for years to come, but we just want to say thank you, gentlemen, and we really, really appreciate you.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Now I gotta get some pictures. Come on down.
Did you want to say?
Gotta have pictures. One at a time. Two different pictures. All right, so Chief Thompson, you and come over here first, David, Sharon, Brian, you over next. So separate. Y'all look church.
Don't move, that makes me more wiggle.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Congratulations to the two employees, and thank you, Miss Sharon, and all that the Rotary Club does for Dawson County. Thank you. Our second opening presentation is the Development Authority of Dawson County's quarterly update. And the chairman, Mr. Tony Passarella. Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I know this morning, Sharon, you woke up saying this is going to be a good day because I'm going to listen to Tony give the quarterly update.
Exactly.
So I'm here to do that. Our objective is to review the progress to date and to set expectations for the near term. The presentation was distributed in your packet, and in the interest of brevity, I'm going to only speak to a few salient points as we go through. Next slide. I guess I'm doing the slides. You can do it. To say I'm technically challenged is a huge understatement. I did a calculation here. We always tracking unemployment for the county. If you notice, for this month of March was the latest data we had, and we're down about 2.7%. And just to translate that to you in people, that's 371 people that are unemployed in the county of 25,000. So excellent statistics. Next is an update on the Kroger bond. This is something that we monitor every year. As you remember, as part of the bond that was issued to them, they had some performance requirements. The performance requirements are around capital investment as well as employments. And if you look for the 2020 data here, you see that in employment, they are actually 8% over their target. And capital investment, they're 109% of that target. Just to put in the context, like Vicki was talking about during the work session, I mean, in the year that they've had in 2020 and COVID and that kind of stuff, for them to exceed their employment by that much is just outstanding. So we applaud that, and it continues to be a very successful relationship. We'll move next into the key elements of the strategic plan that was presented in November of last year. Around workforce development is one of our key indicators. Right now we are in the process of trying to evaluate a scorecard. The outliers that we had here are some of the issues around the employment possibilities here in town and the COVID impact on the economy and the local businesses. In the next key indicator is around the business-friendly environment, and then the incentives policy was reviewed. We are in the process right now of defining certain parameters as came out of our meetings with various stakeholders, and then the ROI so that we can bring that to the Board of Commissioners to review the incentives to help us measure how to attract businesses and at what level. Okay. I'll turn to the next slide, please. Under retaining and expanding is our next key indicator. To us, there are utility partnerships here is that's a key variable for us. This involves the infrastructure that in the county that allows us to continue to develop along the 400 corridor, and that involves everything from broadband, electricity, sewer, water, those types of issues, and that, and of course, the contribution of GDOT. Under the next key parameter, I'll point out that the development roundtables came from our strat plan. These are the key businesses that we're trying to attract, so we're focusing on those. Part of the reasons that those are supported, of course, is that we're trying to attract higher paid jobs. We're trying to attract different levels in the stratosphere of people's careers and things, and bring in management opportunities for our residents. Turn to the next slide, market and the community and enhance quality of life. I'm going to speak to parts of that a little later in the presentation. If there's any questions, slow me down and stop me, okay? Under business development, you can read there that some of our existing expansion, and this is really a testament to Betsy McGriff, who's our economic development manager. She's done a wonderful job of becoming engaged. Her and Mandy at the chamber, these guys are the key to this type of business retention and business growth of our existing base. And so it's been a really healthy relationship with the chamber and the development authority. Under new business prospects and locations, we've got some things that are underway right now, and I'll point out Light Fighters. They make combat tents for soldiers, and so it's I didn't know Light Fighter sounded like a video game to me, but I found out it was not.
Is casework manufacturer a sure thing?
Yes,
They're coming.
yes,
Okay.
we have to find a place for them. Isn't that right, Bess?
They're coming in.
Oh,
Yeah.
are they in
they're-
Forsyth? Forsyth County? Yeah, okay.
Any other questions on that page? Next page, as you're aware, we're in the process now of trying to develop a number of options around the location of an industrial park, light manufacturing, distribution, headquarters, those types of businesses to attract in the medical software business as well. The high tower expansion product, right now we have we're in the process of negotiating the cost of the land, and we've outsourced to an engineering firm to find out what the cost of the of siting, flat land, utilities ready to go for building. And right now we're looking at a couple of sewer options with Etowah, and they're a key impact on our pro forma as far as getting our arms around what the total cost is going to be. Another option is Etowah Bluffs. There's a project there underway that will come before you in a while here. And basically it's an opportunity to have a mixed use development, and it has some aspects to it that is an industrial park. And really the timing dependency there as far as when they would actually occur, if it occurs, is an uncertainty that we're continuing to deal with. Question? The high tower resurfacing is an issue that we continue to pursue right now. After 2 weeks ago, Commissioner Satterfield brought to, and David Headley brought to the forefront this policy around the MSBU, and we're looking forward to having further discussions about that as it relates to the industrial options as y'all develop that. Also, welcome, Diane. We're going to have to spend some time regrounding the Public Works Department on that to make sure that we have, with David's departure, now we need to make sure that we have everybody up to speed and that have the ability to be part of the process. Next is good news on the Peaks of Dawson. As you remember, this is a workforce housing development that the Development Authority extended a revenue bond, and we're able to pursue. They have passed all of their state and federal funding is secure, and they anticipate construction in June of 2021. That's right there on the,
Behind
Behind the-
CBS.
it's behind the old Crystals right there.
And they're
Next
gonna
is
start building in June?
June 21, 2021.
That's right here.
Yep.
Okay.
The signs have gone up. They went up this week, I think.
Oh,
Do you have any further questions about the Peaks at Dawson? Okay. Business Innovation Hub. This is really a feasibility study, and it's our grant application has been completed, and Betsy did a great job on that. So we're looking for the ability to receive that grant, and what that will help us do is to understand the process and the benefits to the county and the county employee base of the potential of opening some type of business incubator in the area where small entrepreneurial type of things can be done. Next is the Trail Master Plan, and that right now is in the final throes of being approved by the Development Authority. And once we do that, we're going to present to the commissioners and other stakeholders probably in the third quarter of this year. And then the adoption of the master plan would be come before you guys probably sometime in the fourth quarter, first quarter of next year, calendar year. We continue to pursue workforce initiatives, and we're really pleased to have the relationship with the high school as well as Lanier Tech and the University of North Georgia. And some of the resources that we can tap into has been very helpful. All right, with that, that's the end of our update for the quarter. We continue to very much, our board is very interested in making sure that you guys understand all of the things that we have in the works, and that we have transparency in the way that we go about it.
Questions for Tony? Thank you, sir. Thank you for the
Yeah,
outstanding
thank you.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Betsy, as well. And Miss Mandy, as y'all work together on those projects. All right, if you would, please stand for brief invocation and pledge. Ask you to bow your heads, please. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another day and for the blessings of life. As we carry out the business of this great county, Lord, we ask that you give us knowledge and wisdom. Anything that we accomplish will give you the honor and glory in Christ's name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Are there, there you go. Are there any announcements? Any announcements?
I got two things I'd like to say real quick. Just a reminder that today is National Day of Prayer. And so just be in remembrance as you go through that process to just pray for all the leaders of our country and our country in itself and local leaders. And secondly, on Saturday, Sharon Fawcett and Danny were awarded with the Dawson County Tourism Award. So we're in the presence of celebrity status. So I just wanted to let this group know that they were awarded with that, and thank you for all that y'all do in the community with tourism, and it makes a big impact. So
You're
Congratulations.
He snookered me into going to that meeting. I won't forget it.
Y'all do a good job.
Thank
All right. All right, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. First up, we have the minutes of the work session held on April 15, 2021. Any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dooley,
Second.
second by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 3 with 1 abstention. All right. Next, we'll move on to the minutes of the voting session held on April 15, 2021. Any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 3-0 with 1 abstention. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. I do have 2 additions to the agenda. Addition of number 6 under new business, IGA with city reference, city funded deputy positions. There's been a request to table that, so that'll be item number 6. Addition of number 7 under new business, extension of emergency moratorium on acceptance of rezoning applications to RS2, RS3, RMF, CPCD, and MVV by way of resolution. And you have a copy of that. But I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with those 2 changes.
so move.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. Agenda is approved 4-0 with those 2 changes. This is public comment section that has to do with the business of the thing. No one signed up at this particular point. We do have some public comment later on. We'll move on into our public hearings. We have a broadband ready community ordinance. This is the second of 2 hearings. First hearing was held April 15th, 2021 voting session. And just to refresh your memory, this is state in 2018 stated the Georgia Broadband Deployment Initiative This is a program that was implemented for the purpose to assist in deploying broadband to all areas of Georgia by the Department of Community Affairs. The program certifies communities as broadband ready. The designation allows for funding through grants under GBDI, USDA, and others. 11 cities and counties in this state have received this designation. So at this time, I will open up this public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on the broadband ready community ordinance? Anyone here to speak on the broadband ready community ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close that here. And what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Next public hearing we have is alcohol ordinance update. This is the second of two hearings. The first hearing was held at the April 20th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. Jameson brought us that update. It has to do with a lot of the different venues and different things like that. Any other information needed before I open this hearing? All right. At this time, I'll open up the alcohol ordinance update. Anyone here to speak on the alcohol ordinance update? Come on up. Give us your name and your address and please sign in.
All right. Good evening. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. I just want to take a moment. My name is Mandy Power. I am the Chamber President for the Dawson County Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, you guys know that we speak on behalf of business, and publicly, I just wanted to come tonight to let you guys know that we thank you so much for considering this, and of course, Jameson's staff. This is a ordinance that has needed to be reviewed, and I appreciate that you guys are always willing to improve and help businesses be able to do business better here in Dawson County. So that was it. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else here to speak on the alcohol ordinance update? Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close that here. And what's the pleasure of the board?
Can we ask a question or after?
You can ask some questions. Jameson?
From James. I guess the things that some of us had asked,
Mhm.
and I know I asked on one on the, when they delivered.
Correct. As written right now, we asked the board to really kind of make a decision on three different things. One was the curbside delivery, which was prohibited before. We continued it to be prohibited. As written, it is prohibited to do curbside, it's prohibited to do the home deliveries, and then it is written in with to allow for variances. Those are the ways it was as written as of now.
What was that third one? What did you say?
Variances.
To allow variances.
Mhm.
They can request a variance.
Okay.
I guess the second question is, I know the state, the governor just signed in
Mhm.
bill on, well, that was takeout. And what else? He took, what was that bill?
I think there was tasting.
Yeah, I think so. For something for the distilleries or something. for the-
Distilleries. I didn't know
Or
if
included.
since the states put it in,
Mhm.
is that going to do anything with our ordinance? Since the states approved some other guidelines, I guess, or
Well, as you know, this particular update was what, a year and a half in the making. They did not take into consideration what was just approved by the state. Those are things that we'll have to review and we can bring back before the board.
so we can come back and change it if we need to change it.
Absolutely.
I didn't know if it was going to
It's-
conflict the state.
Nothing in our ordinance currently should conflict with it in being in confliction with the state. If the state allows it, and if we don't strictly prohibit it, it would be perceived that it would be allowed in Dawson County.
Well, do we need to table it before we I mean,
Yeah, I think we bring it
And-
back an amendment if we need to amend it.
oh, okay.
I'll just add to that, that the provisions with regard to delivery were added in direct response, not to a legislation made a couple months ago, but into some very recent legislation. And so although I haven't familiarized myself with all the most recent legislation, I would be surprised if anything that was just passed restricts our ability to prohibit delivery, because the other recent legislation allows us to restrict delivery. In other words, I'd be surprised if anything in our current ordinance is now contradictory to this new statute, but we can look into it.
And to his point, this is something that's constantly being reviewed, and we will continue to stay on top of it and update with the state regulations accordingly.
I guess he mentioned distilleries. Can you, what's our position on distilleries? I mean, if they got can we have those?
As of right now, the way our ordinance is written is they still have to provide 50% of their sales from food. So it just, it's not that we don't allow them, it's just that we're pretty restrictive on them.
Other questions of Jameson?
I just think this is a good first start. I know that one that's been in place for many, many years. And as you said, to Tim's point, let's keep this a living document so we can change it as other laws come forth, other opportunities from the business perspective come forth. That makes sense.
Do you know how many ordinances we have? Is it over 100?
You're I was gonna say, you're more than welcome to go into Kristen's office and see the book that's about.
I
that.
I know it's a lot and, we're making progress on it, but, keep it a living document. How many do we have to keep alive? It's just so.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, but it's a job.
Yep.
Isn't it, to try to do this? So. Yeah,
Don't disagree with that.
thank you. Thank you.
Other questions? Motions?
I make a motion that we approve the recent alcohol ordinance update.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
second by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Our last public hearing tonight is vape ordinance update. You heard that a couple of weeks ago. This is getting us more in line with what the state changes were. I think main thing was age of 19 to 21. And a few other changes that are associated with that. Any other information before I open this hearing? This time I'll open the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on the vape ordinance update? Anyone here to speak on the vape ordinance update? Seeing none, I'll close that hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion.
One thing to point out is all three of these hearings have fallen under Jameson's leadership. So thank you for taking all these on. And as we throw more at you, I appreciate you doing
As I said, my hat's off to him. This is so much to keep up with.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0 as well. We'll move on into new business. First up, we have consideration of ambulance billing ordinance and policy. This is to move forward into a public hearing, which will be held on June the 3rd. Any other information needed on that? Motion to have a public hearing.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
it.
seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion.
Do we, and we did look into changing that one for county employees.
They did.
Being it.
They did.
Exempt from getting a bill.
They did make that change.
Thank you.
Other discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0 to go to a public hearing on June 3rd. Next up, we have consideration of FY 2021 Legacy Link Contract Addendum Number 2. Dawn presented that a couple of weeks ago. That's some more extra money that we would get, probably $300 and something, if I remember correctly, at no cost to the county. Any other information needed? Motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. All right. Next up, we had consideration of request to use special purpose local option sales tax, Splosh 6 overage funds for some park improvements. Matt brought that to us a couple of weeks ago. Is there any other information needed from Matt?
How much was that?
Total was what, Matt?
Millions?
1.5, 1.59.
1.6.
Right at 1.6 million.
Did you discuss when the berm will be completed?
That,
I can,
to my understanding, that we are on their list. It's been a very, very busy.
I
and
think,
wet
Tim, you got some
spring.
info on that, don't you?
I thought Jackie Day, he said June.
June.
Did he say what
Next month.
year?
This year, we hope. Yeah.
To be determined.
Any other information needed on that? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Next up, we have consideration of annexation C2 100192. Council. Both of you. Come on up. Come on up. Tag team it.
So this annexation is a combination of multiple piece of properties that are currently zoned RSRMM. Basically, it's located just north on Duck Thurman Road, right next to the Motorsports Park. If you combine all these pieces of property together, they do combine, they are in contiguous nature of the city. And I believe you probably have my analysis, my thorough analysis, but they are looking to do a 45 lot neighborhood.
30 lot.
Let me
Wasn't
make
it?
sure.
30.
I believe
42 acres.
45 acres.
45 acres,
45 acres, 30 lots.
Yeah.
30 lots.
The density was slightly more dense than what the current zoning of the property is. And the lot sizes would have to meet the RSR zoning now, which is, I think, 1.5 acres, and would have to be septic in order for the septic to percolate. The only real issue that we saw, there were no island formation. Jameson had presented to me that he could not find the original plat for these different parcels. So based upon that information, I undertook to look into the real property records. And what I found, while I didn't find the plat of the properties, and I believe Jameson's point in his analysis was that without an original plat, and then the plats or surveys that were provided in the annexation application, they were retracement surveys of these original surveys, which does not qualify under the Plat Act. However, in my research, what it led me to find out is that the first parcel or parcel 070004, the original deed of that property dated back to 1981. When we don't know what the subdivision regulations required in the county back then, another property was originally deeded to a Thurmond back in 1988. The third property, the original deed that we could find was back to 84. And the other parcels date back similarly in that age group and are divided, and the legals match the acreage size. So in our analysis, just from the legal standpoint of, can I, as the attorney, identify what's going to be annexed by deed description, parcel identification, I could. And they met all the other legal requirements for the annexation. And barring a land use objection, the county would not have another objection to the annexation. And from Jameson's analysis, there did not appear to be a land use objection based upon any material increase in burden upon the county in services, capital expenditures and the like. Frankly, it appears to be a pretty good project because they're going to market this to the owners of the garages or lessees of the garages at the motor speedway.
Because
So-
what I had heard about, people were calling about the noise again, and I thought, well, who in the world would want to live next to all that noise? And then I kept reading, I said, that's who wants to live
Right.
next to it. But still, the people that are over there, when you take down those trees, it's still gonna be louder. And I don't know, and I know the guy said he was gonna do a lot to mitigate this noise. I hope he does. It's terrible to have lived over there for years and years, and then all of a sudden, you've got all this noise. You know, I mean, we have noise, we have cows mooing and stuff like that, but it's not these big motors. You know, and I really feel for those people. I really feel for them. And people say, well, they can just sell and get away from it. No, you can't. Most people are not going to want to listen to that unless you get these people like that. But by and large, these people are pretty well stuck. And that's what I hate so bad about it. But I know people have the right to, I mean, Horace Thurman's been around forever, and they have the right to do with their property as they please, but I still have concerns, and especially the noise. And when they leave that motorsports park, when they're on Burnt Mountain Road, they still think they're in the motorsports park. Because I nearly get run over myself getting out of my driveway, and then they look at me like I'm intruding on them. So it's a catch-22 sort of deal. RSRMM is what density?
With water, it would be 1 unit an acre, but there's no water in the area, so it'd be an acre and a half per lot.
An acre and a half. Did you say that this was, what size lots are these 30 lots?
They're at least an acre. It's slightly more dense,
It's
I
more
believe, on the calculation. The city's zoning classification that it's moving to is 1 unit per acre. But I
Okay.
don't believe the project's going to be more than 1 unit per acre. It's just the density for the zoning is slightly more dense than what the county's on.
45 acres, so 30 lots would be 1.5 acres.
Mhm.
So does it have to
Average.
go through city rezoning after it leaves us
It'll be rezoned as a pertinent to
through this process?
through the process of annexation. It will necessarily be assigned a zoning classification when the city vote to accept the annexation, the property is annexed to that zoning classification.
So the city does have one more step to go through in order to accept the project.
Yes, they have to have their public hearings.
So
They do.
hypothetically, they don't, one of my biggest angst, I mean, I think this, to Sharon's point, kind of makes sense, but one of my biggest angst is that we continue to have the responsibility to deliver services to any house that falls within and without the geographic area of the city. So the city doesn't have impact fees. As we heard tonight, we've gained quite a bit of revenue to help offset the demand that these new residents have put on the county for those services. Could legally the city, and you can probably get back to me if you need to do some research, but could the city not stipulate that they, like, for instance, a lot of projects that we have impact fees, but we've also asked the developer to contribute to funds. We have a
Mhm.
roundabout that the developers contributing X funds over what their impact fee was. Could the city not stipulate that the developer contribute funds to a road improvement project in that particular area, even though it wouldn't potentially lie within the city footprint, or even if it did lie within the city footprint? Is that something legally that they could do?
Well, with respect, one, the city could impose its own impact fees. There are other
They've chosen not to. so
municipalities that could do that.
Sure.
But most assuredly, if it is a city road or they could impose zoning conditions, developmental conditions on that you're gonna have to widen the road, do this improvement, that improvement. But we couldn't,
We can't stipulate.
we can't mandate it, but they can.
Right,
They
they
should,
can,
yes.
okay.
And oftentimes do,
Well,
well, in possibly other jurisdictions.
thank you.
All right, so any other questions? It's my understanding, and unless we have an objection to the annexation, we don't have to do anything, correct?
You don't have to do anything.
What say you, the board? We don't sound like we have any legal standing objections. That
I
would
wish we
be,
did, but
that would be something that we could use. I'm listening.
Do you say we don't have to take
Don't have
action?
to do
so-
anything. Okay, all right. Moving on to number 5, consideration of settlement agreement between Dawson County and Dawson Forest Holdings. Council.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, members. This item is the proposal for the approval of a settlement agreement in litigation that has been ongoing since 2018. It's have a traveled a tortuous course dating back to formally to a 2017 application, which was even then the renewal or resubmission of an earlier application. It is about 16 acres. It is to rezone property from RA to RMF. That was originally denied by the board. It proposed 95 attached townhome units. The proposal has been negotiated with the developer over a period of time since the litigation has begun. There was some activity in that litigation, resolved some of the issues. Some of the issues remain outstanding. The parties met and discussed potential resolution of the development. We've reached an agreement that we would like to present to the board. You should have received the settlement agreement previously and had a chance to look at it. The proposal to settle the case is to agree to bring the case back before the board on a county initiated rezoning. It would appear before you. The proposal would be to rezone it again from RA to RMF. In this case, it would include a variance related to garages and how wide and how deep they might be. In addition, there is a site plan which shows the proposal. It's limited to, I believe, 85, if I recall correctly, 89 townhomes. And there are stipulations that were included along with that, which were included as part of the settlement agreement. I will state this is not the actual rezoning. This is an agreement whereby if the board brings it before them, does in fact approve the rezoning as contemplated in the settlement agreement, then the developer would dismiss the lawsuit. If it's not approved, and you're not bound to approve it, but if it's not approved, the case would go forward and we would continue to litigate the case. So it's a two-step process. You approve the settlement agreement, and then the county initiated rezoning will appear before you, and if approved, then the case will
That
be
opens us
dismissed.
back up to a public hearing.
That
Yes.
would be a public hearing.
Yes. Questions? Motions?
Question.
Well,
I probably went right over. So this is to accept a settlement, go to public hearing.
Yes,
yes,
Still got to go to public.
that's
yes.
correct.
but no, they have to come before us for the rezoning. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
If we approve this agreement, then tell me what's
Yeah,
next.
we approve this tonight. County staff will put together the documentation to formally prepare an application for the rezoning that's contemplated in this agreement.
Okay,
It'll appear before you for a public hearing, and if approved at that point in time, the agreement has terms by which the case would be dismissed if it's approved according to these terms.
Well, I make a motion. Oh, are you,
Go ahead.
you go ahead. I'm sorry, I butted in.
No, that's.
I'm good at that. I just make a motion that we approve this agreement.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. We'll move on to number 6, under new business. We had an IGA with the city, reference city funding 2 deputy positions. The sheriff came forward tonight and requested that that be tabled until our next meeting on the 20th. Any other information needed there? Motions.
Make a motion that we table the IGA with the city funding deputies
Okay, till the 20th.
until the 20th, correct?
All right. Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's tabled 4-0. Item number 7, under new business, extension of emergency moratorium on acceptance of rezoning applications RS2, RS3, RMF, CPCD, and MVV by way of resolution.
Chairman, can I back up just a quick question on that prior? That comes back to work session, the city, and then we had the option to move it forward that night. Is that what
Yes.
we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, because we didn't get any of the details yet. Sir?
Ready on number 7? Evening again, Mr. Chairman, members. This agenda item is to extend an existing moratorium that was put in place to allow the county to obtain a study to consider the implications and whether there would be any need to pursue any regulatory changes related to the listed residential districts. It's my understanding it is scheduled to expire a little bit later this month. And it does not appear that we're going to have the study results back in time to get any actions done at the end of the moratorium. In order to continue the moratorium, we're going to go ahead and take action at this point in time to extend it for a period of 30 days, see what we can get. If we get the study back and if we have a plan of action going forward, but nevertheless have the intention of if we go forward, we would have if we go forward with any more extensions, we would have public hearings to make sure the public is able to provide comment on any further extensions beyond this 30-day extension. So this would take it to June 5th as it stands right now.
So we can extend it 30 days without a public hearing.
As this is the best way to do it, do this as an emergency basis.
Okay.
Without the public hearing on this one. But if we need it further, we will set it up for and advertise for a public hearing for the next one.
Questions of council?
And you
I know we
should-
got some in, I guess, in the hopper and some that tabled, so they can come back. During the process, during the moratorium 30-day, can they still go through the filling out the paperwork process? No, they can do anything.
It is currently, as I understand it was passed and as written now, it would be a moratorium on acceptance of applications.
So,
Yep.
So it would not be any consideration.
Okay, and then I guess the first you said it was, it's all residential, but I guess commercial plan development, is that residential and commercial together? Okay.
Yeah, I said, and it does list that district
Okay.
in the resolution.
Other questions of council? All right. I'm going to read this resolution for the benefit of the public that's here and that are listening. The resolution of the Dallas County Board of Commissioners extending an emergency moratorium on acceptance of applications for rezoning to the residential suburban 2, RS2, residential suburban 3, RS3, residential multifamily RMF, commercial plan, community development, CPCD, and mixed use village, MUV, and land use districts for the Dawson County Land Use Resolution. Whereas the Dawson County Land Use Resolution regulates the use of property located in Dawson County, Georgia, and whereas the Dawson County Board of Commissioners is the governing body of the county and therefore is responsible for providing appropriate public infrastructure and services to best serve the public interest, including but not limited to such infrastructure and services associated with current and future development within the county. And whereas on February 18th, 2021, the board adopted a 90-day moratorium on accepting applications to rezone to residential suburban 2, RS2, residential suburban 3, RS3, residential multifamily RMF, commercial plan, community development, CPCD, and mixed use village, MUV land use districts pursuant to Dawson County Land Use Resolution. While the county obtained and considered the implications of a dual purpose study of efficiencies and service delivery costs per zoning category, and whereas the county has not yet received the study, and whereas the Georgia Supreme Court has held that a moratorium with respect to application of a zoning ordinance may be put in place for a reasonable period of time without the necessity of complying with the notice requirements of the Georgia Zoning Procedures Law, and whereas the board finds a moratorium barring for an additional 30 days until June 5th, 2021, the acceptance of applications for rezoning to the residential suburban 2, RS2, residential suburban 3, RS3, residential multifamily RMF, commercial planned, community development, CPCD, and mixed use village, MUV land use districts identified in the land use resolution to be reasonably necessary, the least restrictive means available, a reasonable exercise of the county's police power, and in the best interest of the public health, safety, and welfare. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Dawson County, Georgia as follows. The Dawson County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend the existing a moratorium for an additional 30 days until June 5th, 2021, barring the acceptance of applications for rezoning to residential suburban 2, RS2, residential suburban 3, RS3, residential multifamily RMF, commercial plan, community development, CPCD, and mixed use village, MUV, and land use districts of the land use resolution. The moratorium imposed by this resolution shall terminate on the earliest date of June 5th, 2021, approved by the Dawson County Board of Commissioners of an additional moratorium after a public hearing, board action terminating the moratorium within the 30-day period. This resolution shall be effective upon a majority vote by the Board of Commissioners. So resolved the 6th day of May, 2021, the public's health, safety, and welfare demanding it. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve the moratorium extension.
Motion by Commissioner Dooley,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. That is approved 3-1. All right, we'll move on to public comment. We have two people that have signed up in public comment. We have Mr. Tim Eller, and I think, Mr. Eller, you're going, if I understand correctly, you're going to defer to Mr. Davison. So Mr. Davison, come on up. Please sign your name and your address, and then you can speak to the board.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Davidson. I came into your county November 16th, 2019, bought a new house. I have concerns about my neighborhood. It's Emmett Drive, 65 Emmett Drive. I've had the privilege to deal with several of your people in your county. Ms. Fawcett, had several meetings with her. had several meetings with your county manager, Ryan Young, our new employee, Ms. Farr, Public Works. My concerns right now with what's going on at Emmett Drive is a dirt road. It's been treated with gravel, crush and run. I understand the county actually owns the road. It was actually a driveway for Donald Moss. That's all it is now. It's a driveway. The drainage wasn't put in properly, only halfway. You got drainage on one side of the road, no drainage on the other side of the road. The roads ended up at the bottom of the hill and a man's driveway every time it rains. In my driveway, we had a good rain this weekend, as you well know. 12, 14 inches deep now, about 14 inches wide, and I can't get out of one of my driveways properly. The whole thing amounts to a Band-Aid being put on a big, big gash. David's been really good. Ms. Fawcett's been very respected. He actually came out 2 days ago and looked it over with your civil engineer and your public work, just out doing the manual labor. I think it's Eddie Savage. The road needs to be paved. What's happening is all this debris that's coming off the road, EPS, we got United Parcel, FedEx, garbage trucks. It's probably 50 vehicles a day. I'm retired. I see it. Goes up and down the road. The garbage trucks are not really in good shape. They're leaking oil all over the road. Well, all this is going down to Lake Lanier. I can see the lake from my window, 125 yards away. Everything's mountain. It's going to the lake. It's trying to find its way out. I've talked with EPA. I've talked with EPD. I've been in touch with Ms. Keller, Heather Kelly, out of Carterfield. Now, I don't know if she got in touch with you guys or not. It's my privilege to be here, and I appreciate it very much. By the way, it's the first time I've been to a public meeting. I'm 77 years old. I have 17 grandkids, 12 great grandkids, 17 great grandkids. I get it straight in a minute. My wife has to tell me. There's a lot of us, but most of my time was raising children. I've never been to a public meeting before, as you can probably see. I worked with the company for 43 years. I'm from old school. Get a good job, do a good job, retire, everything's just right. Well, that's not true. It didn't work out that way. I understand this meeting here is for me to get it on the docket to where you can actually discuss it. Now, my wife sent letters to every commissioner on this board. This one, this lady right here, she took care of business. And I think she's probably in tune with you guys and probably felt like you probably don't need to even be repetitive at this point, which I think is probably an accurate statement. Mr. Headley is really on top of trying to make this thing work. And I got a copy of the letter from your attorney saying that the county wasn't responsible, that they didn't see the county responsible for paving the road. I may agree with that. What I disagree with is that how Kevin Tanner, Mark Bush, and the county got together and did a variance when there weren't 17 houses on the road, only 9 occupied, maybe 10. The rest of us didn't get to attend the variance meeting, which was to let Mark slide out from paving the road. There's a stipulation in there where he actually is supposed to build on the last lot that pulls the trigger for him to pave the road. I really think the county needs to hold somebody accountable for not doing what they're supposed to do. It didn't do the ditching like it should, drainage, didn't do the utilities like it should. It didn't pave the road like it should. It wasn't promised to me. When I talked to him, he said, quote, well, it's in the litigation. And, you know, you can't fight City Hall. That was his answer to me asking him, when you're gonna pave the road. And I fought with it, that builder for the full 12 months I had in my house that I was trying to deal with him on. And I can tell you, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, this man you have to deal with is just basically the way I had found out how to deal with it. And I just really disappointed. This is I'm a past deacon of my church. Held 2 terms there. Come out of White County, Helen First Baptist Church. And my eyes were open when I come into this county. And I seen how things were growing and the county was trying to get it together. And I can tell that with your county manager. He's good. I appreciate it. He's trying to do what he can. What I would like for you guys to do is to put it on the docket, consider it, have your attorney look at it again, and find out if we can hold someone accountable that developed that particular subdivision and hold the feet to the fire. Somebody needs to pave the road. And I don't think you guys would be really need to be responsible for paving the road. I think it was a mistake made. And, you know, we're not done with it. I don't want to make any kind of derogatory remarks about what needs to be done and how it's going to be done. You guys do this. You do it every day. I seen your operation a while ago. I appreciate it very much. A public thing that's just really taking place. We have the privilege in this country to do this. And me, I appreciate it very much. The attorneys, they know what can be done. In our subdivision, they could hire a lawyer. And I got, my opinion is you guys will come up on the short end of it. You won't know the truth about it with public records are pulled. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be responsible for that. I think there's a lot of grown people here, adults, an attorney, that knows exactly what I'm saying. I would appreciate very much if you guys would really get this considered, work out, and find out that we don't have developers running our county. You're running the county. We're running you. We can vote you in, we can vote you out. I think a lot of people in Washington are finding that out right now. But I appreciate you very much. And I would like to have a next docket when it comes up that you put this on the table to hear. I've got a fourth of the people that's on our neighborhood. There's 17 houses. 4 showed up for preliminary. I didn't really know what to expect when I came here, but I found out sitting here. So if y'all would give that consideration, I would appreciate it very much. I think I probably have let Mr. Headley, he's got my phone number. Miss Farr, I met her. Brian was one of the first ones that introduced me to permits. I got all my permits. Everything was proper. I'd just like to see that take place for the developer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the board, we want to say we appreciate you coming here tonight and sharing this issue with us. This is certainly not what the county intended, and it is clear this developer has not acted in accordance with what everyone understood to be the expectations and requirements of the county. For that, this board is very sorry. We are definitely sympathetic to your situation and incredibly disappointed in a developer who would take this approach. We will take what you have told us and work with our legal counsel to further determine what our next steps will be.
Very much. God bless you.
Thank you. That's all we have for, only for public comment. I do need a vote to go into executive session.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Mr. Chair, just for anyone who was not present at the end of the work session, this is land acquisition and potential litigation. Thank you.
Okay, land acquisition and potential litigation. Vote, please vote.
I thought we did.
There we go.
Yeah.
And that's approved 4-0. Thank everyone for your attendance tonight. We'll take a brief break and then we'll be back in here for executive session. Thank you. No votes? Nothing to vote on?
I don't.
We have to come out.
No.